Hey gamers, welcome to this discussion video. This is kind of a part 2 to the last discussion video I did about my mom, but this time talking about that girl that my mom wouldn't let me see, and how my mom was basically right. I don't know, let me explain. And good God, I don't know. It's just like the last video, not gonna be a lot of editing, background music, no footage, whatever, all that stuff. So I guess let's just start off from, a kind of catch up for what's been happening. So like it will be close to like 4 weeks actually by tomorrow. Actually, it will be 4 weeks. Jeez, of me talking with this girl. And you know what? I'm gonna say her name. I'm not gonna say her last name or whatever. But her name was Maya, with an I, and she seemed really cool. We were pretty compatible, in many ways. And we started talking on Tuesday. We had our date on Wednesday, and then we had another date the next week on Wednesday. We were gonna have a third one this past Wednesday, but then she had period cramps, so she rescheduled for Friday, and then I was ready to do it, and then she like canceled. Not even last minute. Like it was time when we were gonna do it at like 8, and she told me like 5 minutes after that she doesn't want to do it, because she was uncomfortable, and things have been weird since then because, like, she kind of like was flip-flopping between different ideas. And I'll also reveal this. I kind of talked about it in I did like a live stream where I was like kind of talking about this. So if you want to check that out, feel free. It's one of the more recent live streams. But I hinted at it, but I'm gonna reveal it here. Like, she kept kind of flip-flopping between if she wanted like a serious like relationship like with like each other, or if she wanted like an open relationship, like a poly relationship where you have multiple partners. And part of this is because she had like a thing with a friend of hers, like a friends with benefits type thing by accident, and she didn't know how to feel about it, and so she was kind of doing that. And she also was like, I want to stop talking for a little bit because maybe we're moving too fast. And then we talked for like after 2 days we weren't talking really, and then we talked again, and it seemed like everything was going back to normal. We were messaging each other like crazy. She said she missed me, missed talking to me. I missed her, and everything was going good again. And then Friday happened, and then she like switched back. And then on Saturday or Sunday, I don't remember exactly, we talked, and then like we said how we also missed each other again. And then today, yesterday, we came up with like, okay, maybe because this is a follow-up to the last video I did, maybe we could find a way for our parents to make us meet, and one way to do that would be to have like my mom talked to like her stepdad or something, by messaging or calling or whatever, to get familiar with each other, friendly. And and we talked about that yesterday, and she seemed like pretty happy about it. And then today, she was active, and I know, probably part of it might be she's busy, but she's been acting like this for the past few days, where I send her a message and she doesn't respond like at all. I have to send her a couple messages for her to respond. And like she sees them. It doesn't say seen, but like I know she has notifications turned on. So basically, the TLDR is that I felt like this thing with this girl is kind of all over the place. Like she doesn't know exactly what she wants, and you know what? I got tired of it. Today, I messaged her like saying, "Oh, did you tell your stepdad yet about the plan?" And she didn't answer. And then I told her what I would been feeling for a little bit, which is about the texting, because she said she prefers texting. She likes it more than calling. And she's like, oh, I can respond easier, but then she doesn't. So then I'm like, it kind of bugs me, and then she didn't respond to that. And I got tired, so I told her, we talked for a little bit, and I told her that I can't keep talking to you, at least for a while. And I decided to mute her. I didn't unfollow her, but maybe I will. At the very least, I mute her. And so I don't see. I believe when you mute someone, we were talking on Instagram, in case you don't know, and I believe when you do that, you can't see when they're active on the app, which was kind of bugging me because I could see when she was active and she wasn't responding. I don't know, and we talked. It just seemed like we had like a toxic relationship with each other. She kind of was indecisive in what she wanted. Again, I made mistakes too. I will admit it. She told me I was too, not really pussy, but I gave her too much attention, and she wanted that to stop. She also said that I was calling too much, and, but she never really told me like to stop talking. She told me like sometimes she feels like not talking that much, but like she feels bad for saying no. But I told her to be honest, but then she's like, oh, I don't want to talk at all. When 2 days, like she doesn't want to talk at all on a call. I wanted to talk with her on a call like one last time, to once again to try to figure things out. And she's like, no, I told her, I want to do it, and she was like, no. So, and I know before she said she enjoyed our calls, so I just, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just thinking because, we seem like we would be perfect for each other. We had a lot of common with politics, with our viewpoints on, gay people, respect them. We also have stuffed animals, Papa here. She had a thing, she had one called Waggle Sister, and it's called that because her sister's stuffed animal was named Waggle, and then so it was a thing, and it just seemed like we were good for each other, and it seemed like that until Friday when things kind of changed. There were issues before. Like I said, the thing with the friends with benefits thing happened before, like I don't know, a few days before, and when we stopped talking for a little bit and then we reconnected. That happened before too, so there were cracks, but it seemed pretty good. And then this time, Friday really left a big crack, I guess you could say, on this thing, and I couldn't. I decided I didn't want it. She was very indecisive. She's like, oh, I like you, but I think I want to be friends because I know how I feel when I like someone, and I like you, but I don't really feel that way, like nervous or whatever. And I tried to explain, like, maybe it's okay for us to not be exactly, like each other the same way we used to like someone else, but she was still insistent on being like friends, but she still liked me. And again, it was like a toxic thing because I messaged her and she wouldn't respond. And also, again, my fault too. I guess I was overbearing, so it just didn't seem like it was right for us. And I also told her today that I don't think she just should be in a relationship. I don't think she should, because she's so indecisive. As she did say, it's her decision. She could do whatever she wants, and that's totally fair. And she said that I seemed kind of controlling, and I don't know. I didn't want to come off that way. I just wanted to give my opinion because I also don't know. I don't know if I want a relationship. I thought with Maya, with her, she could be my first girlfriend. I was gonna ask her I mentioned it in the last video, the last discussed video. I wanted to ask her. Um, I was hoping I could have my first kiss with her. I saw a future, and God, I don't know. It just relationships are so hard for me as, autistic. You see people like, oh, autistic people don't have emotions. I think it's the complete opposite. We have too many emotions. And I feel emotions hard, I've only ever had, well, now 4, I guess, intense crushes, I had one with my neighbor, who I would always visit. The second one was also with a neighbor, though we were first friends in school, and then I found out she was my neighbor. And the third was Clarissa, Jehovah's Witness, blah, blah, blah. And the fourth, now was Maya. See? She was the next person after Clarissa that I felt a strong connection with. Oh, God. I don't really, I think people are cute, or, oh, they look kind of interesting, or they're attractive, or they're hot, whatever. But I don't really develop strong feelings unless I feel like there's a real connection. And when that happens, it hurts, because I mentioned this before. I don't remember when exactly, but there were girls I talked to between Clarissa and Maya, and I felt sad because I'm like, oh, maybe something could have worked out. But I didn't feel heartbroken. Now I do. God. First of all, I want to say I'm sorry for being like a crybaby. I think I share my emotions too much. I do. I share them with people I feel comfortable with. With you guys, I feel comfortable with you guys, even though, it's online, but there's a lot of people that watch me that care. Oh, God. Sorry. I don't even know if what I'm saying makes any sense. I just feel sad because this could have really worked out with Maya. Again, she was my first real connection with someone besides Clarissa after her, I haven't felt that way about anyone since Clarissa, and these were good, but, well, again, they weren't perfect, there were cracks, but it really kind of just turned downhill on Friday, and it sucks. I feel feelings way too much. I don't know if too quickly. Maybe because I was like, I want to make her my girlfriend after the first date. And I wanted to be exclusive with Maya after the first date, because we just had such a good time for that first date. I don't know. Maybe part of it is why I feel really sad about this is, one, of course, we seem really compatible, but two, again, it seemed like I saw a future with her, and dating apps. I'll reveal something. I decided to download a whole bunch of dating apps recently. Bumble, the Tinder, OkCupid, so many of them. And it's just hard for guys to get seen on dating apps, even though I think I am more attractive than I thought, because Maya herself said I was attractive, and I don't know. Basically, I think I'm more confident in a way, but at the same time, I'm a guy on a dating app, And girls, they just have it easier, you know? They do. It's a scientific thing. And I could be all petty and say, oh, it sucks. You know, girls don't deserve it, blah, blah, blah. And I have kind of fallen down that rabbit hole before to some extent. You know, I have kind of feel like, you know, it's not fair. You know, girls get everything, you know, but girls have different challenges. I know that, you know, I've learned that. But it's still, I can't help but feel a tiny bit like, really? Like it's just so hard for, again, not just like guys, but an autistic guy that doesn't have like any social skills at all. That's like 10 times harder, you know? And it just makes me wonder if, I know it's not the case. I know. I will find someone eventually, but when stuff like this happens, it just makes me think, am I destined to be alone? Am I gonna be alone forever, you know? God, I hate this. Whenever I start feeling like sad, I'm just like, I hate emotions. I genuinely hate them. Like, they are what make us human. But it hurts. It hurts. And God. Oh God. I'm sorry, guys. I just, I don't know. I felt like she could have been not the one, but I saw something with her, with Maya. And you know what sucks also? She's also on a lot of dating apps, and I came across her on one duet, which she recommended to me. Again, it was a weird thing. We were kind of like acting like friends, but also liked each other. It was kind of weird for the past few days. But she recommended me it, and I saw her profile on there, and I also saw her profile on, I think it was OkCupid, or was it Boo? I saw her profile on something else, and you know, it sucks because, or was it Bumble? I don't remember exactly. There's so many I downloaded. They're all very similar. Honestly, part of me just wants to just get rid of all of them except for maybe Hinge, because Hinge was the main one I used, and you know, I would just use it passively. Every other one, I feel like I'm getting sucked into, you know, trying to get likes or trying to like others, you know. And you know, seemed like some cool people on there, but I doubt they would respond, you know. And I shouldn't be focusing my time on those apps because, one, I clearly need help. I do, you know. I said that, you know, Maya needed help, but so do I, you know. I need help too. And also, you know, I do YouTube, I do live streams, you know, and I was kind of not focused on those things because of Maya, because we were talking a lot, and even when we kind of stopped talking, I was thinking about her. So, you know, I don't remember what my point was. My point being that it was like, you know, I wanted to try to replace, I guess, what we had on dating apps, but I think I should just go back to refocusing on YouTube because it is fun. I like doing YouTube, you know. I want to continue playing more Xenoblade X. It's a great time. But it does get lonely, you know? It gets lonely. I am stuck at home most of the time. You know, I make YouTube videos, I play games, you know, I do live streams. But it still gets lonely even though I do have like viewers, and I'm just thinking of something right now. I told my mom sorry about the last video I did. And that she was right. But this whole thing with Maya, I just stopped talking with her. I just muted her. And then after I did that, I decided to record this video. I gotta tell her. God, I gotta tell my mom. I don't know. I feel so sad, heartbroken, depressed, alone. I don't know. Did I say that already? I don't remember. Again, I also apologize for these like depressing videos where I'm kind of just rambling like crazy, because that's not what most of you guys are on here. Most of you guys like the gaming stuff. That's my main thing. I've been lately doing a decent amount of these like I don't know, ranting videos, whatever they are. So I apologize. It is my channel. I can do whatever I want, but that's the thing with overthinking, which I also did with Maya. I overthought, and part of it again. Maybe I did partly drift her away from me, but at the same time, see also. Again, that's why I say we were toxic for each other. I'm not putting the blame on her or me. I think it's just an even playing field for both of us, that we were both not. It seemed like we were right for each other, but we aren't. Especially when it comes to, the romantic intentions. She wanted probably Polly, or she was still confused, even now. But that's what she was thinking, and I want to just be the one and only, and I don't know. I'm going on to like a side thing on Tinder, which I also have. There's so many people there that are like, oh, they're just looking for something fun, casual, and I don't want that. I want something real and deep. God, part of it is because I am very emotional. I feel feelings, like I said before, but there's that, and also I don't really have any experience with like sexual stuff. With the right person, I think I could. I'm still like a virgin. Never had sex or technically even kissed anyone. You know, but with the right person, I could. But I think it's important to have the emotional thing first. Before you decide to do something like that. Personally, for me, it can be different for other people. Just like with Polly too. You could be Polly and be fine, but it doesn't work for me. And I don't know. It's just so. I don't know. I'm so confused. Maya made me confused a lot. She made me confused. She kept changing her opinions and boundaries, that she wanted. Like flip flopping between not talking, wanting to talk, and it was so confusing. And she said, like, why couldn't I respect him? And I wanted to, but it's hard to keep up when she changes it like every few days or every day or whatever. That's why I'm saying, it seemed on paper we were good for each other, but it clearly wasn't the case. Maybe one day we'll be friends, we'll reconnect. I'm not, at least right now, I'm not gonna, unfollow her. I just muted her, so I don't see it when she's active, or if she wasn't doing it anyway, but if she sends messages, I won't see it. I also did that. We were also following each other on, TikTok. I also muted her there. I don't know. I guess my point being, I feel sad. you know, it seemed like she could have been someone I could have had a future with. I don't want to say the one, because it's weird, you know. I don't know how to feel about the thing about like a soulmate or the one, you know. I think there probably is a soulmate or the one for you because look, there's like 8 billion people in the world. There's got to be someone that's like perfect for you. But the chances of you meeting them is like very slim. Uh, but I think you can make someone into the one or to a soulmate, you know, by, you know, connecting with each other. So I guess that's my opinion. And I felt like we had a lot of common, me and Maya. You know, I wouldn't say we were soulmates, but I could have seen us like building up to that. And it sucks to see, you know. I don't know. I just. I'm just thinking a lot. I kind of have a headache. That's what happens when I cry a lot. I get headaches. And I cry more often than I like to admit, especially now. Because I am, again, just thinking, you know, should, should I really be trying to date people? Am I destined to be alone forever? Will I ever find someone that, I don't know. And that's the thing with Maya, you know, again, I don't want to trash talk her because she has problems too. And, you know, I don't know. But, you know, it seemed like she did get me, you know. She understood a decent bit about autism. She thinks she was autistic, you know. So I thought, like, maybe, cool, you know, we can connect because someone kind of understands me, you know. Because, sorry. Because autism sucks. It sucks. It sucks. I flip flop between this, but overall, I don't like having it. It's who I am, you know. If I wasn't autistic, I would be a completely different person, you know. So for all the faults I have, I also have good stuff. Anyway, with the faults I have good stuff, and it is who I am. And I thought, you know, I finally found someone that could understand my struggles. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry for crying a lot, for kind of neglecting YouTube, making videos, kind of put that in the back burner for my own personal life, you know, which is important, but I think I was doing it too much, and I think that's part of the reason why we kind of drifted off, me and Maya. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Yeah, honestly, I think I might start to wrap up the video here, because what else can I say? I mean, I would just keep crying, you know, keep saying how it sucks, you know. I really am tired of just not having a relationship, you know. It felt so bad to be, like, basically, you know, I'm sure there were others, but when I was in school, it seemed like I was the only one without a girlfriend, you know, relationship, and it just felt so weird, you know. And, you know, that's the thing with, like, other things, too, you know. Like, I'm, like, one of the only people that don't have a car or didn't have a job, you know. Like, stuff like that, I just felt behind other people, you know. And it's not just the fact that, like, oh, I see other people have what I want, and so I want it, you know? That's part of it, but the other thing is I want to share my life with someone that understands me. I understand them. God, I hate being alone. And I know you could be like, oh, just go outside more. Go get a job. Go do this, you know? It's not that easy. It takes a lot of work. And even if I were to do that, it would still be really hard to interact with people. Like, it's not at all easy. I don't think it's easy when you're, neurotypical, when you don't, have anything like autism. But it's especially not easy when you do have it, you know? So, yeah. Things are officially over with me and Maya. She seemed like a great person, but it wasn't meant to be because she had issues. I also had issues. And even though she didn't want me to say it, I don't think she was ready for a relationship. Because she, she was still dealing with an ex, that she broke up after like 3 years, or something like that. And, maybe partly I'm not ready for a relationship either. But I've more or less, when I was talking with Maya, I more or less was basically moved on with Clarissa. I was hung up on her for a while, for years, 5 years, and I finally started to move on. Now I gotta move on again. Ugh. I guess the good news is, as I'm recording this, tomorrow's the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. Yay! And then also Nintendo announced Nintendo Treehouse stuff for the day after. Like, that's 4 hours, and then the next day after that is another Treehouse, which is 3 hours for Switch 2 games. So good stuff. Good stuff. Honestly, let's talk about gaming real quick, because I generally kind of don't care about the Switch 2 thing. And this was even before I was talking with, Maya, because, I was tired of the leaks and rumors or whatever. But especially with talking with Maya, and it seemed like things were going well, I just didn't really care about doing stuff like, live streams that much, or YouTube, which, you could say that's bad. I think it is a little bit bad. I don't know. Maybe, I think part of it is because YouTube, I love playing games a lot. But, like, the second focus of the channel is, like, me sharing my opinions and stuff with you guys, Even when I'm talking about games, I share my thoughts or whatever. I want to be true to myself. And I guess maybe with Maya, I felt like, yeah, I could be true to myself without having to make videos, Not that I don't like, not that I don't like you guys or anything, but I was like, one of the main purposes of YouTube was because of I guess not having a relationship. And when I started to feel like I was developing a relationship with her, I'm like, let me put YouTube off to the side, at least a little bit. I still upload it daily. I still was trying, but, like, I guess my void was being filled. No, it's not. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm probably not gonna edit this video. I think the last video I edited a little bit. I'm not gonna edit this one. Maybe I'll cut out the beginning and end, of me, like, clicking the thing and, like, starting. And besides that, I'm not gonna edit it because when I rewatched, like, the video, even a little bit of it back, I feel sad again. I hate it. I hate feeling like this. I hate feeling like I'm gonna be alone. Like I'm gonna be alone forever. I hate also feeling like I don't know. You know, you see people that are like, oh, focus on yourself, you know, get money, self-improve, you know, because how can you love yourself if you don't have a relationship? And I do agree, but at the same time, like, I don't know, relationships, I don't know, because I do, at least for the most part, I do love myself. I do, you know, for the most part. Um, but it's times like this where I'm like, do I though? God. Again, am I making any sense? Maybe not. I don't know. Well, tomorrow, we can expect, I guess, a discuss video for Switch 2. Yay. God. I don't know. I'm just thinking, you know, I gotta, you know, we only been talking for, again, I guess 4 weeks now. But it felt like things would be different, and they were different for a bit. I would talk with her like daily, messaging or calling, and she didn't want to do that anymore, even though she liked doing them when we were doing them. You know, I would do that, and it was just so fun, so easy, so happy to do. You know, it was different, but it was exciting. And now I gotta basically go back to the way my life was before, where I just make YouTube videos, I play games, I watch YouTube videos, you know. And it's kind of depressing. Again, no shame at all to you guys, because you guys are way too generous. But it gets lonely, and yeah, I don't know. I think I'll wrap it up here. I could keep crying. I could keep crying for a while, to be honest. I could. But I gotta move on. It's gonna be hard. It's not gonna be easy at all. But I will move on. When? I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't take 5 years like with Clarissa. I don't think it will, but I don't know. I guess the good thing that comes out of this situation is, again, I talked about this in the live stream I did on like Saturday or something. I don't know, but the good thing is, again, I am more confident in my abilities in terms of attractiveness. You know, I feel more above average, at least a little bit, when before I felt average, thanks to Maya. So, shout outs to her. And also, I have more confidence in, to some extent, building like a relationship, because I was doing like the flirting, you know, the complimenting, the like teasing, you know, and it was going good, you know. Maybe I overdid it, not in terms of that, but in terms of, you know, being too like asking for too much attention from her. But at least I have a decent bit of confidence, you know. So if someone does match me on like some other app like Hinge or Tinder or whatever, you know, which is gonna be hard because guys, you know, but if someone does, then hey, at least I'm more confident. So thanks to her, I appreciate that. Thanks to Maya. And that's I guess experience. You can learn from everything. If things don't succeed, it's okay because you either live or you learn. I learned that from the Josh Speaks, who I got a lot of the advice from on how to talk with Maya. You know, so yeah. I don't know. Okay, for real. That's gonna be it, guys. Oh god. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe. This is lately what I've been doing, but I promise I'll be more, fun. It will be more lighthearted in the future. Nintendo Switch 2 stuff. Yay, coming up tomorrow. So cool. Look forward to that when I cover it. Yeah. God, it's. I can't stop thinking about this whole thing. And I guess a quick thing. She was like, "Oh, I want to be friends," but she liked me, and I found that confusing, which I think I said before. But even if we weren't to remain friends, I couldn't. At least for now, I couldn't because I really did like her, and I kept checking to see if she was on, if she was active. When I sent her a message, she wouldn't reply. I was focused a lot on her. I don't know. Maybe one day we'll be friends. Like for real friends, and not whatever we had for the past few days. We had like a friend. I don't know what it was. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I love you guys. I'm sorry for neglecting YouTube and making videos. I can't promise it won't happen again if I do find someone again, but I'll try to not let that happen, I guess. Anyway, peace. Bye, everyone.